Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video here, we'll be testing about Liliam's damage and also Diting's damage comparison. Cause after since Liliam got a buff, then probably a lot of you guys have been interested, like who will actually do the higher damage? Is it gonna be Liliam or is it gonna be Diting, which is our god SR single target damage boss, right? Cause we have been using Diting for almost every single content. When we are fighting bosses content, when we want a very high single target damage, then we're gonna use Diting. But now this video here will be showing you if Liliam can actually out DPS Diting. So we're gonna try to put them in the equal situation. Cause Liliam here can self buff with attack up. Then so Diting doesn't have self attack up, so we're gonna give Diting a buffer later for attack up buff. And then Liliam here cannot apply vulnerable, but Diting can apply vulnerable for from himself from the S1. So to put them in equal state, I'm gonna use Dina here to apply the debuff to the boss, and then when I'm gonna use Diting, I'm gonna put Valerian here to give Diting the attack up buff to be in an equal state, and we can test out the damage output. Alright, so the boss do some damage first. It doesn't matter for us. Then all we need to do, apply the debuff to the boss. Alright, we have the debuff now. Then now we're gonna take a look at Liliam's damage into this boss. So now this boss in terms of HP have above than 60%, right? So we can trigger the passive, and this is the boss, we're gonna trigger another 50% damage output. And then we're gonna cast the damage now, S3, and see how many damage we're actually able to do from one nuke. Okay, one single nuke is 235k damage and the follow-up of a White Fang damage. So this is a damage from Liliam, from just a pure S3. Okay, now let's take a look at Diting's S3. If we use the exact same equipment, what are we going to get? Alright, so I already switched the equipment. Diting is currently using the same equipment with Liliam, and then we have Valerian here to apply the Hazy Dream to give Diting the attack up buff when he takes his turn, and then we have Dina here to apply the debuff to make stuff a lot more fair. So we have the same condition of debuff and also the buff as well. Alright, Dina apply S3. Alright, exact same debuff, defend down all this thing. Okay, apply the bubble. Alright, so now Diting take his action, he have the attack up buff, so it's going to be the equal amount in terms of buff and debuff. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the DPS output. We cast one S3. Alright, so from this double hit here is actually around the same damage or probably slightly higher than Liliam from the 280k damage, because Diting here do 2 hit. S3 and then S2, it did slightly higher compared to Liliam, but you have to know that Diting here is actually the max dupe. Okay, Diting here have every single potential stats you can actually get, while Liliam is just a 0 dupe. Because if we compare here, if we look at Diting here have the max deal. So Diting have a additional 10% damage deal and also additional crit rate and crit damage stats here, and also the additional base stat. While we look at Liliam here, it's nothing. Okay, so Liliam is not at the full potential yet if we compare with Diting. And another thing is, cause currently I'm using Liliam, Liliam doesn't need a buffer. But if we look at Diting here, just now I have to purposely put in a buffer for Diting to actually have the same damage output to Liliam, right? So what if I take away Valerian, so there's no longer the buff? Then if this kind of situation, no way Diting can actually out DPS Liliam, because Diting cannot self buff even if you have the vulnerable applied by yourself, right? So if I do it something like this, the boss do some damage. Okay, Dina apply the debuff. Then now Diting here gonna cast the S3. You see the damage difference a lot because he can't self buff himself. So overall, in terms of like universal wise or content wise, Liliam can have a higher potential and more damage output, because Liliam here doesn't need a buffer in your team. All you need is just provide a good defenses for Liliam to survive, or probably assist or probably turn meter push for Liliam. Then Liliam will keep on doing damage because she can self attack up and also speed up herself. Okay, another example. So if we look at NicoNana for example, okay, we're gonna auto it, focus on the boss, Claws apply the debuff, then Freya apply the buff, and also the Nightmare debuff as well. Let's look at the Diting's damage here. Diting S3, 127k and 68k and a follow-up damage. So you can hit NicoNana left until, let's see what is the HP? 33% here. Okay, now we take a look at if we actually use Liliam and NicoNana for example with the same build. Okay, let me set it up. Alright, so now this is the same build, same condition. Okay, apply the debuff to the boss. Okay, turn meter push, then Freya apply the attack up buff and also the Nightmare. Liliam can self attack up buff, so to be honest, you don't really need Freya other than the Nightmare debuff. And we cast, look at the S3 damage here. Okay, 189k when you have an attack buffer in your team. You do notice that in terms of damage output, Diting is still slightly higher than Liliam, while you have the attack up buff for Diting. But what if you actually take away Freya? It doesn't change too much for Liliam, right? Overall you still do basically the same thing. Debuff, and then you turn meter push, and then Liliam here casts the S3, nuke the boss down, it will nuke half of the HP. For in terms of Liliam, you don't really feel too much of a difference like with Freya or without Freya. But if you put in Diting here without Freya, so without Freya wise, and we look at the damage output, it's gonna be a big difference. Okay, S3. Okay, so in terms of DPS output, Diting is actually lower than Liliam when there's no attack up buff, because Diting can't self buff with attack up. But so you need a team that can actually provide attack up for the team if you're going to use Diting. But for Liliam wise, you can actually build use Liliam without any attack up buffer, because Liliam buff can self buff herself. So in terms of damage output, Liliam will be on par with Diting. Okay, we can test to see, we did saw the showcase just now. In terms of damage output, it's not too much of a difference. They are both almost on par in my opinion. But you have to know that the main selling point of Liliam is not just the damage, it's also her passive. She won't get control effect, she won't get turn meter down, while Diting here can get control, can get turn meter down as well. So even though Diting is actually the same damage with Liliam, I would say, but Liliam have a few more extra conditions that Diting doesn't have, which is she cannot get control, she cannot get turn meter down, she can self buff herself, so she doesn't need rely on any supporter in her team to actually make her work. So conclusion, I would say the DPS output in terms of Liliam and Diting, they are almost the same, depends on the situation. But in terms of utility and more universal wise, Liliam is actually having a better slot due to her passive, immune to control effect, immune to turn meter down. She can self buff herself with attack up and speed up. She can also recover HP as well from her S1. So Liliam here is overall, I would say, is a Diting but a higher version. DPS wise is almost the same, but Liliam provide you a lot more better stuff, which is self heal, self buff, cannot be controlled, and cannot be turn meter down as well. Okay, so when you go at higher tier of PvP content, let's say Regular Kutsu, let's say on Sharon, that like they can do massive damage, or probably they can turn meter down you as well, then Liliam value will shine even higher compared with Diting, even though their DPS looks almost the same. Alright, so that's all for this testing here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope this video actually enlightened you guys as well. Feel free to comment down what you guys think about this comparison, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.